No, it's just you have a shitty relationship with money.
Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast.
Without passive income, you will work the rest of your life with no guarantee of retirement.
Tell me how this sounds to you. I want to work for the next 40 hours a week for the next 40 years to retire on 40% of my income. Does that sound like a good time to you?
It's all bullshit. You went to school and you learned a system that is failing. You learned a system that was designed to make you an employee.
I'm so fucking tired of hearing people say that they don't need to invest, they don't need to be rich, they don't like money. You need to be rich. You want to know why you need to be rich? Because you need to support everyone around you.
The Kingdom Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Kingdom Podcast. I am your co-host Jordan Payne, joined by Todd Fleming.
That was the greatest way ever to say that.
I kind of mixed in. I mixed in lemon and Fleming. Fleming.
Flamingo. I haven't been called Flamingo since first grade.
There we go. What about Toad?
Toad is daily to this day.
Toad Flamingo.
So, anybody named Todd listening to this, I know you get called Toad. It doesn't end. At least not at 29, 30 years. It doesn't end.
If you have a normal name like Jordan, you're good. I mean, nothing rhymes with Jordan. Come on.
Not off the top of my head.
Good. Guys, today we are going to talk about the difference between cash flow and a lump sum. So lump sums are sexy. Everybody wants that big check, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through business, etc.
Stock trading.
That's
what got me in it.
It's sexy. It's fun. You can flash it around on Facebook, etc. And that's cool. But we're going to talk about some big differences in that and having passive residual income, why they're both important, and different ways that they affect your business. So, Todd, what do you think, man?
I do agree that cash flow isn't as sexy because the numbers, so in the beginning, the numbers aren't as large as the lump sum. So, the lump sum, you make that big stock trade, you make the big wholesale flip in real estate, or the big fix and flip in real estate, or you flip a car or a truck or whatever. You buy something cheap and you sell it high, and you see that check come in and you're like, fuck yeah. Or that wire come in and you're like, fuck yeah. Like I feel like a god right now. I feel untouchable. The only problem is a week later, you realize that you don't have another flip ready, or you don't have like the availability of the next opportunity. And every single month your bills come in, but every single month you don't have the same income. So some month, and I'm speaking straight up from truth here. So I am the first offender of this. In the beginning of my business, all I did was flip. So I saw like the numbers come in, the $5, $8, $10, $12, $15,000 checks and wires, and I felt untouchable, except for, when I went 4 months without doing a deal. Then I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm right back where I started because I still have bills. And that's when I started picking up on cash flow. And what cash flow is, well, the technical definition of cash flow is the amount of capital that flows in and out of a business month to month. So if you want to talk about net cash flow, like, if you make $5,000, but you have $3,000 in expenses per month, your net cash flow is $2,000 per month, right? You're in the green, $2,000. So that's a good thing. So why isn't that as sexy? It's just because it doesn't have as many zeros at the end. But what's cool about it is once you set yourself up to start building cash flow and start building more residual income, it just stacks on top of each other. Instead of starting back down at zero every time, you start at whatever your number was last time. So right now, if you're starting with $2,000 and you go do a little deal, or you buy a rental, or you flip something, but you hold some sort of interest in it, that way you get paid monthly for it, whatever it may be. Say it only pays you $200 a month, something little, right? No, you're like, $200. Like I'd rather have $10,000 now. In the very beginning, if you're dead broke, it makes sense to me to take a lump sum or two. It does, get some reserves. It can be, I don't want to say you're a little more comfortable, but you are. You're just not living on the edge of like disaster at all times, which is good. I don't want you living on the edge of disaster. So back to adding the cash flow. Instead of starting back at zero, you got $200 extra dollars a month. Now you're at $2,200 a month. Now when you go do something else, it's going to be at $2,400, $2,600, $2,800. And the first couple of times you add a couple $100 to your cash flow a month, that's not going to look all that sexy. And you're going to be like, hey, your lifestyle's not really going to change. Go do it 15 times and you're going to live better than everybody that you know that fast.
A natural tendency that I see with people that get a large check or even a medium, hell, even a small check, let's just say that they get $10,000. Naturally, what occurs in their head is, well, I really need to fix that thing on my car, that rattle. I really need to fix that rattle. And I really probably need to do this and that. There's all these needs that pop up, and a month goes by and you have nothing to show for the work and the effort that you did. So you fixed your car, you went and got a new pair of glasses, you went shopping because your shoes are all shredded up, et cetera, goes down the line, and you're like, man, I did all of this work. I put all this time and effort into getting that check, and I took care of things that I thought were necessary. Now I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, shit's spent before you even make it. Always. Something always comes up, always.
Without a shadow of a doubt, something is going to come up. And for me, it's like, man, if I'm going to work that hard, guys, no matter what business you're in, if you're making checks like that, you're probably doing some work. You're probably working pretty hard. So for me, it's like, man, if I'm going to work that hard, I want something I want to duplicate my time. So I want to get paid residually if I'm going to go work. That's why I like real estate. Some people have done that through business. They've bought and sold businesses on financing, et cetera. But
can you explain what residual income is? We totally skipped over that. Lump sum, one-time payment. Residual.
Yeah, residual is a reoccurring number or figure that you are getting consistently normally on a monthly basis. Sometimes it can be on a quarterly, even an annual basis, but it's something that's reoccurring. It's a passive residual occurrence that happens. So for instance, you make an app and it's a $9 a month app and they get access to something. That would be residual, comes in every single month.
Think of your mortgage. You pay your mortgage every month. You pay rent every month. That is residual income for whoever you are paying the money to. Whatever debt that you have is an income for somebody else.
Yeah.
So the more monthly debt that you have, it's the more monthly residual income that someone else has. So we want to get you on the other side of that bitch. Instead of having all the residual expenses, how about we combat that with residual income?
I know we're going to talk about this a lot, but guys, if you're doing flips, if you're trading your time for money in exchange for a lump sum, the problem with that at some point is when you stop trading your time for that money, the money stops. That's a pretty simple statement, but with residual income, the money doesn't stop if you do it correctly. So, people get sick, people get hurt, you have family emergencies, and you're not always going to be able to trade time for money. You're going to get old. You're going to want to retire at some point. So the second you stop flipping or trading that time for money, the money stops. It's gone. It doesn't come in anymore. So although there is a great time and place, like Todd said, if you're brand new, it might make sense to go do a quick flip or to duplicate your money. But in the long term, I vote passive income.
Yeah, just don't get on that hamster wheel. It's a bitch to get off of, for sure. It's a mindset shift. It's tough to give up a $10,000 check for a $150 check or a $75 check because that first initial cashing of it doesn't feel as good. But I do promise you, after you do a few deals or after you start whatever you may be doing. If you got a 9-to-5 job right now, I don't give a shit what you're doing. Whatever you do for another income, if you are having another income, like if you sell things on eBay or Amazon or Facebook buy sell trade groups, I don't give a shit. It's that feeling of that sale and that money coming in feels really, really good, right? So you're celebrating, you're like, fuck yeah, going to go out to eat, I'm going to go out to celebrate, blah, 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 spend some of it, try to save most of it. The problem is you've probably felt this before. By midnight, the feeling's gone, and then you have to go find it again. So I've made 10, 12, 15 grand in a couple days before, in a week before. And at the end of that week, I feel exactly the same as I did before. So it's not, that is the perception change that I want to help you through, because many people, the more money they make, the more poor they become, because they don't ever put their money to work for them, and they don't ever build any residual income or assets that pay them each, even weekly, monthly, annually, quarterly, whatever it may be. And they have to go to work harder to pay for the liabilities and the shit that they buy because they got a couple lump sums. Lump sums don't continue. They do not continue to show up at the same rate that you will need them to if you spend your money unwisely.
Do me a favor. For those of the people listening that do not understand what an asset is and what a liability is, you were just talking about, the liabilities are eating us alive, but what is the definition of an asset? What is the definition of a liability?
I'm just going to do it the simplest way possible. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Liability, consumer debt, credit card debt, your car, your own personal home, your own personal mortgage. All these things take money out of your pocket, so they're technically liabilities. Assets are anything that put money into your pocket. So this could be stocks. I'm going to say bonds, even though they don't really do that anymore. Stocks, paper, notes, real estate, small business, large business, dividends, anything that you can place a little bit of money into and it'll pay you monthly for.
I want to go back to how hard it is when you're first starting to make this transition. Some of you guys know my story. When I first started in real estate, I was doing wholesaling, which is all lump sums of money, the $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 checks. And at one point I said, you know what? I really do want to make the switch to residual. So talking about how hard it is, my first residual anything was a single family house that we bought, and my business partner and me were splitting $400 a month. We each got $200. So I had recently gotten married. I had a car payment, cell
life-changing
phones.
Shit.
Yeah. Exactly. My mortgage payment was $900. So was it that hard? Oh my God. Yeah. I wanted to pull my hair out. So, but guys, what is cool about the residual is it really does snowball. So my first deal, I got $200, and then we bought a sixplex. So now I was up to like $800 a month. That's a good feeling. Fuck yeah. Well, I still can't even cover my mortgage yet. So then after that, literally like 3 or 4 weeks after that, we got into like a 10 unit. Now my cash flow was like $1,900 a month. Okay, well now I can at least cover this and this. So it really does snowball, guys. This was years ago, and I still get that passive income now. So I worked one time, bought an asset that pays me residually. I would have had to now make what I was making before. I really would have had to have wholesaled multiple deals every single month. But
and then in the month that you didn't, inevitably.
Well, it's not even the months that I didn't wholesale or do a flip of some sort. When you stop marketing, when you stop making phone calls, when you get sick for a week, you're pushing that check out, a month or 2 months. I mean, it's not just, I didn't wholesale a deal. If you skip your marketing, if you skip your networking, if you skip picking up your phone, it can go out that far.
And it fucking snowballs.
Yeah. Yeah, so guys, there is definitely a time and a place, and there's even definitely deals where it makes a lot of sense to get the big check. But part of what we're trying to encourage you to do is when you have that big check, buy an asset of some sort, whether it's something really, really small or whether maybe it's something bigger. Don't just take your lump sum and go party for a week. buy an asset of some sort with it. Whether it's giving you $100 a month or $500 a month, it really doesn't matter. Do something with it that's going to continue on.
With your little party analogy there, a good way to look at it. So
I love to party.
you love to, those Montanians, those cowboys, they love to party, right?
Wow.
With that example, so a good, because I'm talking on perception here and how I want to help you through that little, I'm going to call it a little shift. It's a big shift, but it once you look back on it, you're like, yeah, why didn't I think about this before? You were just never taught that, so it's okay. A good way to look at that perception, like, okay, I make $10,000 on this lump sum, this wholesale deal, this flip, however I acquired this one-time payment of $10,000. I inherited it, whatever it is. And Jordan says, don't go party it away. Normally, if that's what you would do, spend a few $100s on partying or having a good time or whatever. If you go buy an asset, that'll supply you party money every week.
Guys, we're trying to help you. We're trying to help you party forever.
Yeah, instead of partying one time, you can party forever. Think of it like that. Whatever that it is that you want to do, if you go spend the money elsewhere, that'll continue to pay you. It'll feed you forever instead of just one time.
It's a shift. It's a shift from a short-term perception. I want the $10,000 check. Okay, I would rather have the $500 a month check, because in 20 months, I've made that 10 grand. In 20 months, you're not going to have 10 grand. So, a little over year 1, I've made the same amount of money. Year 2, 3, 4, 5 through year 50, I'm still making $500. Lights out. I can buy a lot of PBR with $500.
The worst beer ever. We won't get into that, I guess. Especially from somebody that doesn't drink. I guess I'm kind of talking out my ass there. If I don't drink, I guess I can't really talk shit on your PBR. But yeah, it is a shift from instant gratification. And what instant gratification is, if you don't know, it is that feeling of immediate response and immediate reward for whatever that you're doing. So if you are somebody that craves instant gratification, instant reward for everything that you do, I can guarantee that without knowing you, without even knowing who's listening to this per se, I can guarantee that you have a job. I know you have a job, because that's not how building a business works. Building a business, you don't have any instant gratification. You work on things for weeks and months before you ever see a result, if you ever see a result. I've been working on academies for multiple months now, and Jordan can vouch for this. So to give you, if you're listening to this, we have a company called thekingdomrealestate.com. If you go to that website and you sign up on that website to learn real estate and learn investment and financial literacy, I have courses that are available or will be available shortly on financial training, financial literacy, mindset. Jordan's got a buy and hold. We have a wholesale class together, private money. Like, there's all kinds of different courses that you can purchase. It's taken us months and months to develop these courses, record the content, the hundreds and hundreds of videos, and the worksheets to go along with them, without knowing if we'll ever sell one. That is the idea of long-term versus instant gratification. If I needed instant gratification for those things, which sometimes I do, I'm human. If I needed instant gratification for those things, though, it wouldn't work out really well, because I would never finish it. I would get to day 2 of working on it and go, well, I haven't seen any results, even though it's not out in the world. Fuck this. And it's just not how it works. So if you are somebody that feels like they need instant gratification, start practicing patience. Start practicing doing things for other people and other causes, and try not to expect anything in return. And if you get something in return, great. Fantastic. But if you don't, that is the feeling of switching your mindset from short term to long term.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you guys a couple different examples of residual income or passive income. Probably the most popular is multi-level marketing. So multi-level marketing, there are companies out there, and you can sell their products, and you can have people below you that sell your products. I'm not a huge fan of multi-level, although a lot of
half the people listening to this just shut it off.
Half the people. But there are some really cool business models. So you're selling their products, people are buying them, and you're getting a residual percentage of that. That's probably one of the most common. Beachbody. My wife does Beachbody. What's the doTERRA oils? I think is multi-level. There's a lot of different companies out there that have been around for a long time. Another example is a gym. A gym is residual. You pay them residually, and for their service. So it's not a one-time payment. You pay them every single month, whether you use it or not. You pay them every single month. What's another one? I really like small business, where you can create a business and build it up, and then you can sell it to somebody. And instead of getting a lump sum, you can tell them, hey, instead of 50 grand, you're going to give me $1,000 a month for the next X amount of years.
Or even better, you take the 50 grand and then you take royalties on the sales forever.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things outside of real estate. The obvious ones in real estate are you can buy a building and rent it to people every month. That would be residual income instead of a lump sum. But guys, there's a lot of different things that you can do out in the world as an entrepreneur that would create income that's consistent for you, opposed to a lump sum.
Something else with residual versus lump. Residual, if you have some sort of residual income, you have interest in something. You hold an ownership in something. That is your absolute quickest way to becoming a millionaire, multimillionaire, whatever you want to be. Absolutely. If you receive a lump sum for something, you're out. You're out of the deal. You're out of the company. You're out of the real estate transaction. You no longer hold interest or ownership whatsoever. So you're starting over from zero again. If you go hold paper or own mortgage or own debt on real estate, let's say you buy a cheap house and you sell it, and instead of selling it for one lump sum, you sell it for money down and residual income, you still own that paper, that note, that mortgage. Just like the bank holds your mortgage, you're going to hold someone else's mortgage. If you go do that 20 times, you hold interest in 20 properties. You're going to get to a millionaire much, much quicker like that than ever selling 3 houses on your own. And then that money going away to bills, life, entertainment, whatever liability or doodad that you want. If it's reinvested back into an asset, now you hold interest again. So you can see how that, man, it just snowballs so fast. It's just so difficult to get over that instant gratification in that first check. If you do it one time, you get it. It takes one time. That's it. If you take one check, that's $200 instead of 10 grand.
So guys, a lot of people listening to this may be in a situation where, I need $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 like now to get myself out of a very, very bad situation. I've been there. Todd, maybe you've been there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been there. Take the lump sum then. Take it one time. That's fine.
Do it. I mean, you've got to take care of your business, and you've got to take care of yourself, your family, whatever that looks like. You have to be able to do that. So we're not saying don't give that any attention and just take $50 a month, then you lose your house and your car and all that shit. That's not what we're recommending. We're trying to show you guys the bigger picture and the things that have allowed myself, Todd, the other mentors in this group, the other successful people that I look up to. We're trying to show you what they've done that has built generational wealth and has built empires off of that. Guys,
go ahead. Sorry.
Guys, when you get to a situation where you wake up and you say, you know what? All of my bills are covered because I've been doing the residual thing and I've snowballed it. I've stacked it. When you wake up and you have that feeling, nothing will ever change it. Getting another $10,000 check won't be as exciting for you because everything is already covered. So that's a fun feeling. And does it take time? Hell yeah. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
That actually led into what I was going to say. When you're trying to decide, should I take the residual income on this? I'm going to revert back to real estate just because it makes the most sense in my head. But whatever it may be, it can be anything. Should I take the residual in this, or should I take the lump sum? You need to get crystal clear on your goals. Your goal right now, your goal in the next couple months. Is your goal right now that you need some cash? Take the lump sum. If your goal is to start escaping the rat race and creating, a growing business, you take the residual. Those are your only two choices. You need cash now, take the lump sum. If you don't need the cash now, take the residual, because that's going to start to stack, and that's what's going to start making the difference in, your kids' lives and your grandkids' lives. It's when you start working for your last name instead of your first.
I read a stat a while ago. It was something like 80, 85, 89% of people in the world stress about having to pay their bills every month. So, yeah, I mean, you could take your $10,000 check and pay your bills for a couple months. Sure. For me, that'd pay my bills for like 2 months. But guys, if you can position yourself where every month your bills are covered by residual, you're going to be a lot less stressed out than 89% of everyone else on the planet. That's when it gets fun.
And it doesn't, it's, once you do it once or twice too, and you start getting the hang of it, it just becomes habit. It's just that little bit of discipline in the beginning. And we haven't even talked about like the long-term benefits of this with things like taxes and, when you receive a lump sum, right? Just know that you're giving half of it away back to the government, back to taxes. Uncle Sam's going to get his share. When you take residual income, there are so many tax breaks and benefits to owning assets that you will pay less in tax. I'm not a CPA, but in my experiences, you will pay less in taxes year to year than what you do when you just take lump sums, because there's nothing else being reinvested. There's no way to turn that in to something else that benefits you and the government itself, so they give you a tax break on it. Learning the tax code obviously is overwhelming. So if you put somebody in your corner with that, they can definitely help you with that too. But first things first, get crystal clear on your goals. Do I need cash now, or am I ready to start building?
Another huge part of this is, guys, you can do deals that give you both. Those are some of my favorite deals that I've ever done. Let's just say you own a property and you want to sell it, and you can sell it for $100,000. That would be a lump sum. Well, what if your immediate need was, man, I need $10,000 now to cover some bills right now?
Talk about my rehab.
What's that?
Tell them about my last rehab.
I don't remember that one, but
remember that? I'll tell you in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So really quick, guys, you can do transactions that give you a down payment or a lump sum and residual income. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good way to go. Tell me about your rehab.
No, you know about it. It's I guess it's not really the most recent one anymore, but the one that's most it was just kind of unique in the way it was done, and the purchase price was low, and the rehab cost was low. So when I sold it, I was able to sell it on terms. So I was able to make 40 or 50 grand, but it was cool because I took 10 grand as a down payment, and that's all that I had in this property. So I was completely cashed out. So I got all my money back. So I got that little lump sum that makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and you can go reinvest it or put it in reserves, whatever you need it for. And it also built, $500 a month in residual income. Go do that a handful of times. And you don't need any money to do that either. There's money all around you. There's creative ways to acquire things all around you. So if you can start selling things with down payments and become the bank, it's another hell of a way to get yourself out of the rat race. You're on mute.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's Andy. I want to tag one more thing onto the end of this before we wrap it up. Guys, liabilities will eat you alive. Remember, a liability is something that costs you money. But all you car fans out there, all you toy fans out there, if you guys play the game right,
I'm a toy fan.
Todd's a toy fan. If you play the game right, you can buy an asset that will cover the cost of your liability. I give you an example. I bought a truck almost a year ago. Brand new truck, F-250 Super Duty, blah, blah, blah. And I really wanted this truck. I've been looking at it. It had just come out. I've been looking at it for a little bit, and I really wanted it. Guys, the smart play is to buy an asset that has residual income that will cover that residual bill. I think my truck payment's like $900. So we had I think it was the 14 unit that we bought that covered that payment. Guys, if you play it like that, you can have whatever toy you want if you buy an asset that covers the cost of it. My tenants pay for my truck. That makes it fun. Like it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. Like, oh, I'm not paying for this.
You know what that is?
What?
That's you no longer needing instant gratification.
Yeah.
The second you wanted that truck, if you went out and bought it, that would have been your instant gratification. You would have put yourself in the hole. You'd been further in debt. You would have had to work harder. Instead, by waiting, I think it was like a month and a half or something that you waited. It was like 2 months that you waited. I remember the first time that you mentioned it, and then a couple businesses picked up, and you bought like a eight. I don't even remember what you bought. It was like an 8 or 12 unit or something. It was during your spree of like 8 and 12 units that you got the truck, but you closed on those first and then went and got it. Like your payments came in, and then you went and got it. I was thinking same thing with we did this with my wife's car. My wife decided that she wanted a new car. And at the time, she was driving a lot of miles, so she wanted something new, naturally. And not that I think that's the greatest way to go. We're going to cars and liabilities way later, like another episode, and and maybe smart ways to play vehicles. But she wanted a new vehicle. Her payment was going to be $420 a month. If I remember correctly, or I think that's what it is, like $420 a month. So we went out and we bought a house in cash instead of a down payment towards the car. We bought a house in cash, and it nets us $560 a month. So it pays for the car and the insurance for the car, and we've never once made a payment on the car. The tenant does it for us.
Exactly. Guys,
I should say the owner. We sold that on owner finance, so the owner pays that for us. But the terms of the loan for the house that we gave to someone else exceed the loan terms on the car. So they will pay us not only longer, but more than what the car costs us every month.
So guys, in wrapping up a little bit here, couple key takeaways here. There is benefits to both getting a lump sum, and there's a benefit to passive income. The passive income benefit is the bigger picture. It's the long-term goal. This is stuff that will take care of you, your kids, maybe even your grandkids. The lump sums are great when they're needed, but we want to encourage you guys that are listening to this to have a bigger picture, a bigger goal here. Don't be stupid with your money. Do transactions that can give you cash and cash flow if you can. That's how you're going to become wealthy. There's a big difference between I'm rich and I'm wealthy. If you just want to go get rich, you might be listening to the wrong podcast. If you want to become wealthy, you're probably in the right spot.
Wealth is a measure of time, not just money. It absolutely includes money. I'm not going to be... I actually fucking hate when people say that you don't need to be rich to be wealthy. You do need to be rich to be wealthy, but it's absolutely financial. But wealth is a measure of time. So if your richness, if you will last 7 generations, you're probably wealthy. So
here's a good way to gauge if you're wealthy. Guys, hear me out on this. If you stopped working today, how long could your money last you before your house gets repossessed, you lose your car, your cell phone gets shut off, your utilities get shut off? If your answer is a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, or 5 years, you are not as wealthy as you can be. If your answer is infinity, you've won. That's it. Game over. So guys, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you listening to us. We enjoy doing this. We enjoy trying to help people. We enjoy sharing what has made us wealthy as well as quote unquote rich. So appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so already, check out our website, www.thekingdomrealestate.com. We are on Instagram and Facebook as well, at The Kingdom Real Estate, and Snapchat if you want to hear me rant and rave every day, The Kingdom REI. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys on Friday.
And let us know what you think. If you guys like this shit, if you want to hear more things like this, leave reviews on iTunes and Stitcher and anywhere else that you're listening to this. If you're on our website, it's not up on our website quite yet as of recording this, but it'll be up soon. And that's all I got. Close it out.
We'll see you next week.